On Jupiter, storms do not last days, they last centuries. There is a storm there right now, larger than the entire planet Earth, that has been spinning without pause for over 300 years. Not a hurricane, not a seasonal weather event, a permanent, self-sustaining monster of wind and pressure that was already ancient when the first telescopes were pointed at the sky, and it is just one of thousands. From Earth, Jupiter looks almost peaceful, a marble of amber and cream, banded with soft colors, glowing steadily in the night sky. Ancient civilizations watched it move slowly across the stars and named it after the king of the gods. They had no idea just how fitting that name would turn out to be, because Jupiter is not peaceful. Jupiter is the most violent world in the solar system, a planet of unending chaos, where storms are born and die on scales we can barely comprehend, and where the forces of nature operate in a dimension entirely beyond human experience. This is the real Jupiter. And once you understand what's actually happening inside those beautiful clouds, you will never look at it the same way again. Jupiter is big. The word hardly does it justice. If you hollowed out Jupiter and tried to fill it with Earths, you could fit more than 1,300 Earths inside. Its mass is 2.5 times greater than all the other planets in the solar system combined. Its gravity is so intense that it compresses its own interior into states of matter that don't naturally exist anywhere else in the known universe. Everything about this planet exists on a scale the human mind struggles to grasp. And its atmosphere. Its atmosphere is where things get terrifying, because on Jupiter, weather does not behave like weather. There's no surface on Jupiter, no ground to stand on, no rock, no ocean, no boundary where the sky ends and the Earth begins. Jupiter is gas, almost entirely hydrogen and helium, compressed and layered and heated from within, stretching downward for tens of thousands of kilometers until pressure and temperature become so extreme that hydrogen itself stops behaving like a gas and begins to behave like a liquid metal. If you were to descend into Jupiter's atmosphere, you would not land, you would simply sink. And as you fell, the world around you would become increasingly alien, increasingly hostile, and increasingly lethal. In the upper atmosphere, temperatures hover around -145 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze you in seconds, but the winds are what would end you first. Jupiter's jet streams move at speeds of up to 600 kilometers per hour, not gusts, sustained winds, screaming laterally across the planet in vast ribbons that stretch for tens of thousands of kilometers. These are not storms in the earthly sense. They are permanent atmospheric rivers, bands of weather locked into place by the planet's rapid rotation. Jupiter completes one full rotation in just under 10 hours, making it the fastest spinning planet in the solar system. For a planet this massive, that speed is extraordinary. It stretches and shears the atmosphere, pulling weather systems into elongated bands, creating the signature striped appearance we see from Earth. Between those bands, the turbulence is almost incomprehensible. Weather systems clash at their edges, spawning storms that would dwarf entire continents. And once a storm forms on Jupiter, there is nothing to stop it. No landmass to break its momentum, no shallow ocean to drain its energy. Jupiter's storms can persist for decades, centuries, or longer, spinning endlessly on a world that never lets them die. The most famous example is the Great Red Spot, a storm so large, so ancient, and so persistent that it has become one of the most recognizable features in the entire solar system. At its peak, it measured more than 40,000 kilometers across, wider than 3 Earths placed side by side. It is an anticyclonic storm, meaning it rotates in the opposite direction to cyclones on Earth, driven by pressure differences between Jupiter's atmospheric bands. Wind speeds at its outer edge reach up to 500 kilometers per hour. At its center, conditions are slightly calmer, a violent howling eye in a storm without end. Astronomers first documented the Great Red Spot in the 17th century. It is still there today, still spinning, still raging, though in recent decades scientists have noticed it shrinking from 40,000 kilometers across to roughly 16,000 and growing taller as it compresses. Whether this signals the eventual collapse of the Great Red Spot or some form of transformation is one of the most closely watched questions in planetary science. But the Great Red Spot is only the beginning. Jupiter hosts hundreds of other storms at any given time, visible from orbit as ovals of white and brown and cream scattered across its face. And between those storms, lightning, massive, continuous lightning, but not like the lightning you've seen on Earth. Jovian lightning strikes cluster near the poles and at the boundaries between weather bands, driven by water ice and ammonia deep in the atmosphere. The energy of these strikes is staggering. Some bolts estimated to be thousands of times more powerful than a typical lightning strike on Earth. If you could somehow stand at the edge of Jupiter's atmosphere and listen, the constant rumble of thunder would be uninterrupted and global. So what fuels all of this? What keeps Jupiter's atmosphere in a state of perpetual violence? The answer lies deep inside the planet itself. Jupiter radiates roughly twice as much energy as it receives from the Sun. That excess heat comes from within, a slow gravitational contraction of the planet's interior, releasing energy as heat that rises upward through the atmosphere. This internal heat source is the engine driving Jupiter's weather. On Earth, our atmosphere is primarily powered by solar energy absorbed at the surface. On Jupiter, the atmosphere is powered from below, from a planetary interior that has been slowly cooling since the planet formed 4.5 billion years ago. That rising heat creates convection currents that feed storms, maintain wind bands, and keep the entire atmospheric system in a state of constant, violent motion that will not significantly change for millions of years. Beneath the visible clouds, the atmosphere becomes stranger still. Layers of ammonia ice give way to layers of ammonium hydrosulfide, then water ice, then deeper and hotter gas. At a depth of roughly 50,000 kilometers, still not at Jupiter's center, the pressure becomes so extreme, around 3 million times the atmospheric pressure at Earth's surface, that hydrogen transitions into a fluid that conducts electricity like a metal. This liquid metallic hydrogen, flowing in currents driven by the planet's rapid rotation, generates Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, the strongest planetary magnetic field in the solar system, 14 times more powerful than Earth's. And then there is the radiation. Jupiter's magnetic field doesn't just exist, it weaponizes space itself. The radiation belts surrounding the planet trap high-energy particles and accelerate them to extraordinary speeds, creating an invisible kill zone stretching hundreds of thousands of kilometers into space. Standing unprotected in those belts, a human would receive a lethal radiation dose in under 5 minutes. Even our spacecraft are not safe. The Galileo probe's instruments were gradually destroyed by radiation exposure over its 8 years at Jupiter. Juno was engineered with a special titanium radiation vault to protect its electronics, and engineers still carefully plan each orbit to minimize exposure time. Jupiter doesn't just have violent weather, it has turned the space around it into a danger zone. We have sent spacecraft to face that hostility, and what they found changed our understanding of this world entirely. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 flew past Jupiter in 1979, returning the first detailed images of its storms and its moons. They revealed a dynamic, complex world and gave scientists their first real glimpse of just how violent Jupiter's atmosphere truly was. Then came Galileo, a spacecraft that arrived at Jupiter in 1995 and spent 8 years in orbit around it, studying its storms, its magnetic field, and its moons in unprecedented detail. In 1995, Galileo also released a probe that descended into Jupiter's atmosphere, the only object ever deliberately sent into the Jovian clouds. The probe survived for just 57 minutes before the increasing pressure and temperature destroyed it. In that time, it measured wind speeds of more than 500 kilometers per hour and found that Jupiter's atmosphere extended far deeper than scientists had predicted. Today, NASA's Juno spacecraft continues that work. Launched in 2011 and arriving at Jupiter in 2016, Juno has been orbiting closer to the planet than any spacecraft before it, mapping its gravity field, its magnetic field, and peering beneath its clouds with microwave instruments. What Juno found was extraordinary. Jupiter's famous bands and zones, those colorful stripes, extend thousands of kilometers deep, far deeper than anyone expected. The weather is not just a surface phenomenon, it is embedded into the planet's very structure. Jupiter's storms, its bands, its lightning, its radiation, all of it is not a temporary condition. It is not weather in the sense we know it on Earth. It is the permanent, fundamental nature of the planet. Jupiter does not have storms. Jupiter is a storm. And yet, for all its violence, Jupiter is also our protector. Its enormous gravity acts as a kind of cosmic shield for the inner solar system. As asteroids and comets travel inward from the outer reaches of the solar system, Jupiter's gravity either captures them, slings them outward, or deflects their paths. Scientists believe that without Jupiter, the inner planets, including Earth, would be bombarded by far more large impactors than they are today. In 1994, the world watched as comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, torn apart by Jupiter's tidal forces, slammed into the planet in a series of impacts that released energy equivalent to hundreds of millions of nuclear warheads. Jupiter absorbed that blow without flinching. For us, it was a reminder that Jupiter stands between us and the chaos of the outer solar system, a silent, violent guardian. Jupiter is not just a planet, it is a machine of storms, ancient, relentless, and vast beyond anything our atmosphere has ever produced, a silent guardian and a violent giant, burning from the inside out, wrapped in centuries of fury. And every night, it is right there in our sky, watching, waiting, storming endlessly.